Welcome to the Separation Anxiety in Dogs Decoded podcast. I am your host, Ness Jones, and we'll be deep diving into all things separation anxiety. But before we get started, please make sure you like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you never miss another one. And don't forget, if you are interested in joining my easy step-by-step training program to resolve separation anxiety in your dog, you'll find the link in the show notes. Now let's get started. Hello. So today we are going to be discussing a topic that is quite problematic for people. Often the advice of when you've got a dog with separation anxiety is to give them a treat when you walk out the door, whether that's a Kong or something that they can chew on that's going to occupy them for some time while you're gone. I don't use food with my training, and there's a number of reasons for this, which I'm going to go through now. So firstly, if a dog is really, really stressed, they're not going to touch the food anyway. And a lot of my clients say that as soon as they pull out the Kong, let's just say a Kong in this instance, that the dog will run away, like literally run away and hide. Because what's happened is the guardian has been giving the dog a treat when they walk out the door. So what happens, we've got the food, the door, the food, the door, the food, the door. And what is going to happen after that is your dog is going to draw a parallel, an association, and not a great association with that Kong. And that's why a lot of my clients report that they have tried to use food, and the minute they've brought out that Kong, the dog has taken off and disappeared. They don't want anything to do with it, because that Kong signals that they will be left home alone, and now it's going to be scary time, and they don't like that. So in that instance, the food has a negative value for the dog. So where formerly, that person may have given the dog a Kong and the dog's been delighted, thank you very much. Now they've built this association with scary home alone time. So for that's one reason I don't use food. Another reason is that when you're stressed, your digestive system can shut down. This applies for dogs just as much as humans. I know myself that when I'm really, really stressed, I don't want to eat anything. My stomach is knotted up, and the idea of food is the last thing I really want, and that can apply to some dogs as well. So those are the dogs, you walk out the door and the food is still there and it remains untouched while you are gone, and then when you come home, they're gobbling it up desperately. And it's simply because they're too worried, too nervous, too anxious to touch the food. And that makes sense if you're a person like me that doesn't eat when they're stressed. Another thing is that some people will say, well, the dog ate the food, therefore it's fine. And yes, it is true that some dogs will eat the food despite being worried and anxious. So what we see in those instances is that the dog gobbles up the food, and then as soon as it's gone, it does get stressed and anxious, etc., etc. And we see all the behaviors that we don't want. So yes, it's a good distraction. It starts as a distraction for the dog. But what happens once the food is gone? We still have the same issue. And also, let's say that the food is a fantastic distraction, and maybe you only need to pop out for 20 minutes. Well, brilliant. Use the food by all means if it works for your dog. If it works for your dog. That's a big if. Like I said, most of my clients say they've tried it and it didn't help whatsoever. Not one little bit. But okay, let's say you give them something, a Kong, and it lasts for 20 minutes. Maybe if you're really lucky, it lasts for 30 minutes. What happens when you need to go out for 4 hours? What on earth are you going to give a dog that's going to last for 4 hours? And if you're giving a dog something that's going to last for 4 hours, you're probably going to end up with a really fat dog. I don't know. I can't think of, okay, you can give them a bone. There's recreational bones that they can chew on for a while, but that's not going to distract them long enough or well enough, because it's a recreational bone. So just as an aside, I'm a raw feeder, and when we talk about giving bones to dogs, there's two types. There's the ones that they can eat and digest, and that would be raw. I'm always raw. Don't ever give dogs cooked bones. So raw chicken bones, something like that, or chicken fraying, but they're not going to last that long. And then you've got your recreational bones. So the recreational bones, yeah, they last longer, but I still don't think that you're going to get a 4-hour window with a recreational bone. So I don't use food with my clients training. I don't use food for home alone time. I think we can do the training and help the dog feel comfortable without that distraction. And I would say if I really had to do a poll on my Facebook group, which I think I might do actually. If you haven't joined it, Separation Anxiety in Dogs Decoded with Ness Jones, join the group, and I might do a poll in there and just find out, do people's dogs enjoy food while they are gone, because that would be quite interesting. Yeah, so when we're talking about food, personally, I don't choose to use food with the training I provide my clients. I don't think it helps the situation. I'm not going to say it complicates it, but I don't think it's a valuable addition to the training. You have been listening to Ness Jones on the Separation Anxiety in Dogs Decoded podcast. Don't forget to check out the show notes to learn more about my programs and how I can help you with tailored training. Until next time.